that night passed. The following day, we had to prepare ourselves. I couldn't even have breakfast. I mean, who can have breakfast in that state? So I went home. We started our trip going to see the same person who was supposed to check me. And by the way, the hospital had already missed it, right? So the clinic missed it, and also the hospital, they did some of the examinations. Like, they did a lot of examinations, like the lab tests, they did the radiology part test, they did which other parts? I think these only, and also the OPD part. So they did those examinations. And nothing, everything was coming out okay. Like, everything was coming out okay. All the results were just coming okay, that I'm fine. Now imagine the results are coming out fine, and literally I'm not fine. Physically, I'm not well. And I was like, this is how people die. Why they just say, no, we saw her moving around and we just got surprised that today she has passed away. And I was like, this is how it works. I think this is how it works, because I visited one clinic, and I visited about three hospitals. Yes, I visited 3 hospitals, and they all couldn't really spot what was going on. And they did some other tests, but it never worked. All the tests were coming out okay. So when we went to him, so we had to visit him. We first went to one of my aunties, or the one who was supposed to connect us to the same man. So she also, the husband, or should I say my uncle, also had uvulitis, but for him it was in the early stages, so medication is what worked on him. Now in my case, medication couldn't work because it was in the last stage. So we went to see him, and we found him, and my man was something else. Like, it was just way something else. The only thing that was my man was like, you know what, I just want to be healed. I just want this thing to be gotten out from me, and that I just be safe and all that. Because you are in that state, you can't even think about the risks and all that. I had a live surgery, guys. A live surgery where they are cutting without anesthesia there, without anybody like to do the injections and all that. So when we reached there, these are the tools he used. So there was something like a pen. Then he also got a sharp razor blade, a brand new one, and he also had a stick. Then there was also a bowl of water. What else? I think that's all. And there was also something like to disinfect the brand new razor blade. I think that was it. So now here was the thing. So the Zam pen, that was a Zam pen. The pen had a rope inside, and it made something like a tiny wall in there. So the process was like this. I sat down, and he told me to open up my mouth widely. And when he saw it, this was his reaction. He was like, this is literally one of the rare cases that he usually has. That's what he said. These are rare cases that I normally have. Like, it's rare to see them where the uvulitis has reached at that extent. Like my extent, like the level I was in, the situation I was in. So he was like, I saw the razor blade. I saw that I'm going in the live surgery right now, and I was like, okay, can the medication work on this? Can I just be given medicine and all that? And he was like, no, this is not a state of even negotiating about medicine and all that, because you can even die because of this. You're going to die because of this. This has worsened. I couldn't think of anything. I didn't even have a moment of thinking about, like, you know what? No, I think let's just give it let's give it a thought. Let me go and think. No, that wasn't necessary. So he told me to sit down. I had to sit down, guys, and open up my mouth widely. So when I opened up my mouth widely, he told me these were the cautions. I shouldn't make an attempt of moving. I shouldn't move. That was the first thing. Then the second thing he told me was that when he started the process, I shouldn't vomit. The third one, I shouldn't swallow the saliva or anything, because the moment I swallow the saliva, I could think that it's saliva when it's blood, and when it goes in the trachea, that would be another thing. And they don't do aspiration. They can't aspirate me. That will be another case. And if the blood goes in the trachea, I might have a prolonged condition, like a chronic condition, because the thing that are not supposed to go in the trachea, they've gone there. So you know, where you are in a state where, you know, like you don't just have, like, I have no option but definitely to follow them. So I sat there and I opened up my mouth widely, and my mom, I remember seeing my mom there, and she was worried, and she was like, oh, and her facial expression was just like, okay, I think mom right now is just my only strength. I saw mom, I was like, mom, I'm getting through it. So I sat there and opened up my mouth widely, and he got the pen. He had to go in there. Now guys, imagine, you can feel like there's something that is going there, like there's something that is being deep down there in my throat. And as he was doing that, it went there, and the first attempt, so the process was that he's supposed to make sure that the alveoli, the one which is like prolonged there, he's supposed to make sure that the rope, the tiny string which is in the zampen, is supposed to be catched in there in the, oh, I don't know how I explain this. It's supposed to be catched in there, like the alveoli goes in the tiny rope, and it goes like that. That's how it's supposed to be. So the first attempt, I tried to throw up. The second attempt, I tried to throw up as well. The third attempt, and he was like, you know what, you're not helping. This, your life is at stake. So be serious. And I was like, you just don't know how serious I am right now. So the third attempt, now the fourth attempt, that's why he managed to catch the alveoli, like the prolonged one. Then he made sure that the string was up there, and he pulled it up here, and it was so tight. Now imagine like where your throat or the alveoli is being touched, like it's being tightly pulled, and I could feel it, guys. I could feel like, okay, there's something there which is really my throat is being held up, like I could feel like there's something in there where my alveoli is being tied up with something. And it was a really hard process. I could even feel right now, I can, like, as if it's going on right now. So when he pulled it up, like he pulled it very much, and he had to get the other stick, which had a very sharp razor blade. And the process was that he's supposed to go in there and cut the alveoli. I know, it was something painful, and that was life. So he had to go in there and had to cut it. As he was cutting, he managed to cut, but not all of it, quarter of it, because I had to throw up. And when I was throwing up, I could even feel the razor blade being cut in my mouth. I was like, oh, I mean, that was so sharp. So that was cut on the quarter part. Then the second time he also tried to cut it, and this time it was successful, and he managed to remove it, and it was out. So when it was out, I before seeing what was out, my blood was already coming out, like pouring out, like, oof. I mean, I was like, okay, I think my blood is done in my body. So my blood was pouring out heavily, and I could see the floor being filled up with blood, and it was filled up with blood. I remember crying so loudly, like, oh Lord, I've just had a life surgery. And when I saw the tissue which came out for me, it even had a tear. I was like, really? Like, this thing has really made me suffer. It has really made me suffer. So when that process was done, we appreciated the man, and I really do appreciate him even now. When we went home, guys, I couldn't talk for about 2 weeks. I couldn't talk, I couldn't eat properly, I couldn't drink, I couldn't even swallow saliva. I mean, that was really tough. Even swallowing saliva was really a tough thing to do. Every time when I want to swallow something, or specifically saliva, when I want to swallow saliva, now you hear how serious this condition was. Just saliva, right? Just a normal thing that we do even automatically without even paying attention. For me, I had to make a choice when to swallow saliva and when to just ignore this part, like I shouldn't swallow. And my throat was ever dry, and I had to make sure that it was always moisturized. So every time I want to swallow saliva, I would like try to hold tight to myself was way much better, like just making like you're trying to make fist like trying to make fist and like holding myself and trying to stand up like that when you want to swallow, like just to swallow saliva. Every time the saliva just passed there, I could feel the pain. I could feel like the veins are being like my sinuses are being irritated, like there is inflammation this part. It was so it was a bad experience. It was a bad experience. It was so hard, and it was something that was really painful. And as that was going on, I tried, when I wanted to check how my throat was, wow guys, my throat was filled up with blood. It was filled up with heavy and dark blood, like the wall of this part was just filled up with blood, and I could see my veins being like being so prominent. I could see them being prominent, and like they made like something like the lightnings, I should say. Lightnings is, I think that's the best example. They made like the roots there, like I could see them being so prominent, and there was blood, thick blood. I remember taking I was told that I have to be taking water, warm water, and also fibers, things like food which are rich in fibers, so that they can be like brushing off the blood which was there. So every time, already saliva was something that was so difficult for me to do, like swallowing saliva. Now imagine water, imagine food. I couldn't really have the proper meal for about 2 weeks. 2 weeks, that was the period where I suffered a lot because it was something else. So for 2 weeks, I just, even talking, I couldn't speak because air shouldn't go in there. Air was something like something else. That was like a foreign thing that shouldn't go in there. Taking water, taking drinks, whatsoever, it was something hard to take. So for 2 weeks I stayed like that, struggling and all that. Then in my 3rd week, where now I was able to do some of the things. So this was something that was really hard to do, and this was something that I went through. And hopefully, if you are having such kind of symptoms where you're coughing out loudly, you are feeling like there's something in there, like there's a worm there despite you doing, make sure you check your throat. You check if how the alveoli is as well. You check how the alveoli is as well, because if the alveoli is being infected, then the epiglottis as well can be infected. And in my case, I feel like I also had epiglottis because I was feeling I just couldn't feel things to be alright with my throat. So make sure that you check it out if you're having this kind of symptoms. And if you are losing weight as well, despite you doing the women and all that, you can check your throat as well. At least this is something that you can check apart from the stomach and all that. So this is the thing that I thought of sharing with you guys, my life experience, what I went through and how I survived. I really thank God that I survived, and He really saved me, because there are people who died because of this, and I'm sure there are people who still die because of this. So if you have friends who have kind of similar symptoms, and just take interest in seeing their throat, and that you just see how they are, if they are fine. So this is what I thought of sharing with you guys. Hopefully it will be helpful, and if you are in this state, don't be scared. At times, if the hospital people miss it, at times it's kind of hard to notice it, because I think it's a rare thing. I think by then it was a rare thing. For now, it's not a rare thing for me because I've gone through that. So if people might miss it, people in the hospital are not angels. They are just human beings like us, and only blood and water run through them. So there are times where they can miss it because maybe they are overwhelmed with a lot of work. They are going through such kind of such different situations, and when they miss it, I don't really blame them. I think it was God's way that I be seen by that traditional man. It feels like I'm talking about the witch doctor. Not really a witch doctor. I don't know how I can call him, but I think it was just the plan of God that I be seen by him, because the surgery was really a success despite it being a painful one, because right now I'm okay. I usually even forget that I once had such an incident. So it was a successful one, and we didn't even spend much of money, like thousands and thousands. We just spent this, which I don't think would have been a case if I went to the hospital. The hospital would have been like, there was supposed to be MRI, CT. There was a time where they recommended CT and MRI, and those are thousands. Now imagine having MRI and CT and it doesn't even show anything. So I think it was just a way of God planning it. So if the hospital miss it, try to go to the society as well, find out from them. Like in my case, it was the society which helped me, which played a very big role, and this is what happened. And I thought that this will help you as well. It will help you in knowing what's really happening, not just you but also the neighbors, the relatives, your friends, your workmates, the people around you, everyone, right? That you just be an eyesight for them. You just check out what's happening to them. So this is what I thought of sharing with you guys. Hopefully it has been helpful, and hopefully it something that is going to help you out. So don't forget to just put in the comment section and let me know how this topic has been, if my experience will help you. So don't worry, you're not going to die. You're not going to die. You're going to be saved just like I was saved. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next episode. Bye.